Hello, welcome back to Evil Genius Props. I am Mike, your Evil Genius, and what we're doing today is we're going into production on our next show. Uh, we'll be going up in the spring. So after we get into the new year, we're going to start doing some actual production on it, which means it's time to go through the script. So what I'm going to do today is walk through how I go through a script with you. Uh, in this case, we're just going to take the script, sit down, read through it, and review what all we need, any questions we might have, anything we want to ask the director, note how things are used, things like that, just to sort of help develop that prop list and figure out what we need to build. So here's what I have and what I sit down with. I don't usually do it at my workbench, but this is where I have my filming setup. Script, this is actually the one we did last year, but it's an extra copy that I haven't already marked up. Highlighter, pencil in this case, or a pen, and a notebook. So first things I do, I don't really need to worry about the introductory stuff, but you can see here, so this is the beginning of Act 1. Zoom in for you. Minstrel strolls in, strums his lute. So the opening song for this is basically all about all this neat stuff they have because they're in the Renaissance now. Even just this first song had a ton of stuff in it. So here we made advances in science. They hold up very old scientific equipment, sextant, telescope, latest gadgets and appliances, bellows, cauldron, washboard, pewter mug. Mugs are made of pewter, so even right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 items just right here. And what I want to do on this one is I want to know how many. So how many people are going to be in this scene? Because I'm going to give everyone on this stage in this song is going to have a prop for this part. So all the men are going to have some sort of scientific equipment. I ended up making an octant, telescope, microscope, things like that for this. And then same thing with the women. They're all going to have something. So I need to know how many of each, because this doesn't specify exactly what everybody has to have. So I'm going to ask that question. This is a question for our director and our choreographer. So they come through. Puritans, nothing there. Francis Bacon sets up holding a chicken. So if you watch the Broadway version of this, they almost do it like a magic trick where he's got a chicken and then he puts it into a pot and pulls out a frozen one. Again, this is something to ask director. Walter Raleigh enters, smoking a pipe. Gonna need one of those. You'll note these are 3-hole punch. Normally I do put these into a binder, but like I said, this is an extra one. And I'm just scrolling through here. This is a song. Normally there's a whole lot of props in songs, but I'm not counting on that, especially when I'm at 10 items on page 5 already. So, scene 2, wearing a crown. Cape probably is going to be covered by costumes, but I'll have it on there just in case. Nigel wrote something in my notebook last night. Small leather-bound book. This is important in that not all of the props are going to be in the direction, which is down here in the italics. So if they didn't actually pull this up and just said, I did write something in my notebook last night, I would have highlighted that. All right, so Clapham unrolls a scroll poster. So this is one of those ones where I'm probably going to work this out with our director just to make sure I understand what they want on this. Does it actually want it to read this, or is that just going to be too hard to read from this stage anyway? So just hold out a scroll for them to read. And just like I said, scrolling through here, reading through the songs, reading through just one of those where, especially a show like this, there is so much stuff. Just want to go through and check everything. We don't want to miss it. Look at that. A whole scene with no props. So here we go. Nick's at a table eating from a bowl. Cast iron kettle. Another bowl. So we need 2 bowls. Wooden lockbox. Keep going. Another song. He grabs a bow and arrow, straps it on. So here he's getting into the money box again, removes a bag of coins from it. That gives you a good idea of just how I start that. We don't need to go through the whole script. But then once I've done that, what I will do, go back through, and now that I've highlighted it, start taking these down and writing them down in my notebook. So this is sort of an example of some of the stuff I've done and a few things that have gotten through here. So we needed, just for instance, feather quills, tankards, pitchers. Great idea just how much stuff I ended up needing. This isn't even close to what we finished with. I'll go through, write down everything I've highlighted onto my thing, and then put this into my computer as this is my prop list. Next thing I want to do is, at one point, they're at a concert for Shakespeare as he's doing a live reading, and I had the idea of, for instance, at a concert, you'll often see people with homemade signs holding them up. And in this one, they specifically have people calling out for particular sonnets or readings or parts of things. So I wanted to highlight that. So I just had some ideas for signs. So Sonnet 18, How Do We Love Will, My Kingdom for Will, and wrote those all down. And this is again something I had to go over with my director. How do they want these? Do they want this at all? This is just my idea. It's not called for in the script. And then I mentioned about how I was asking about I need to go over things with the choreographer. These are specifically how many things I need to go over with our choreographer. How many fans do we need? They like the big feather fans. How many buckets? How many head sketches do we need? There's a part where they reference chorus line where they'll hold up their headshots in chorus line, while in this they hold up a head sketch. And for instance, what I was asking about, or I was talking about for the initial opening song, Welcome to the Renaissance, just these, the items that specifically were called out and how many we're asking for, anything else we were looking for. Willpower, uh, that's the concert song. We had the signs, and there's a part where it slows down. So instead of everybody holding up a lighter, I gave them all LED candles to hold up. Again, my idea that I wanted to run by the director and our choreographer. Things like this, where it's just you're going to have to read through them, see what you need, see who's going to have what. Things I wanted to go through with people, and just various questions. So like, this is more set deck, but they're at a fancy party. So I'm like, why don't we do a champagne pyramid? Well, check with our directors. They want to do that. Um, also, a black dog sign. How do we want to do that? There's sort of 2 options given to us of have it hanging from a signpost and falls, or have somebody walking with it. These are all things that like you want to notice in your script, and then any questions at all, write it down and go over it with your director. So, for instance, Nigel's folio. How big does the director want that to be? And for that, I wanted it to be older and sort of well used and stained. I actually, when I made that, I got a piece of leather for the cover and hit it with drops of black ink. But Shakespeare also has a folio, but his is much bigger and fancier and just sort of a different item altogether because Shakespeare in this play has tons of money and is well set up. These are just sort of the types of things that I'm looking for when I read through that script. What do I want to do? I want to take the words that are on here, transfer it over to here, and any ideas I might have, anything that's not called for that helps set the scene. And that's what I'm looking for when I read through a script. Well, that's it for today. I'm going to finish reading our scripts and get ready and start making the prop list for our next show coming up. But that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, please feel free to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.